I spent 30 years chasing a number, a magic number that would finally make me feel secure, successful, worthy. And then I turned 50, and something strange happened. The number stopped mattering. Not because I'd reached it, but because I finally understood what I'd been running from all along. If you're over 50 or close to it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That quiet moment when you look at your bank account and realize the anxiety didn't go away with the zeros. The peace you thought money would buy, it never arrived in the mail. Today, I want to share what I learned about money and happiness after turning 50. Not from a book, not from a guru, but from living it.
The truth nobody tells you when you're young is that we spend decades believing that financial security equals happiness. We work overtime. We save aggressively. We compare ourselves to neighbors, colleagues, siblings. We check our retirement accounts like they're somehow keeping score of our worth as human beings. And somewhere along the way, we forget to ask the most important question. What is all of this for? A study from Princeton University found that emotional well-being does rise with income, but only up to about $75,000 a year. Beyond that, the correlation weakens dramatically. Yet we keep chasing more, convinced that the next promotion, the next investment win, the next milestone will be the one that finally brings peace. But here's what happens after 50. You start running out of time to keep postponing joy. You attend funerals of people who never got to spend what they saved. You watch friends retire with millions, only to realize they don't know who they are without their job title. You see the crack in the equation you've been solving your whole life. The problem isn't that we want financial security. That's wisdom. The problem is that we've confused security with accumulation. We've mistaken enough with more. And we've paid for it with our present moment, over and over again for decades. Let me tell you about my friend Richard. Richard retired at 58 with just over $2 million saved. By every metric, he'd won. He'd done everything right, maxed out his 401k, lived below his means, invested wisely. 6 months into retirement, his wife found him sitting in their paid-off kitchen, staring at his laptop, refreshing his brokerage account. Again. He couldn't stop. He'd spent so long accumulating that he'd forgotten how to live. The money was supposed to buy freedom, but he'd become its prisoner. That's when I learned the first lesson. Money doesn't change who you are. It amplifies it. If you're anxious with a little, you'll be anxious with a lot. If you're generous with less, you'll be generous with more. If you don't know what brings you joy now, no amount in your retirement account will teach you later. The relationship you have with money at 30 is the same relationship you'll have at 60, just with more zeros and less time. The second lesson came from my own experience. I turned 50, looked at my net worth, and felt nothing. Not joy, not relief, nothing. Because I'd been so focused on building the number that I'd forgotten to build a life worth funding. Research from Harvard's longest-running study on happiness, spanning over 80 years, found that the quality of our relationships is the strongest predictor of happiness and longevity. Not wealth, not achievement, not status. Connection. And yet, how many dinners did I miss? How many conversations did I postpone? How many moments with my kids did I sacrifice at the altar of financial security? Here's the painful truth. I was saving for a future I wasn't present enough to enjoy. The third lesson surprised me the most. I discovered that happiness isn't about having more money. It's about having more meaning in how you spend it. A study in the Journal of Consumer Psychology found that spending money on experiences rather than possessions leads to greater happiness. But there's a deeper layer. It's not just about experiences versus things, it's about alignment. When your spending reflects your values, when your money moves in the direction of what matters most to you, that's when you feel wealthy, regardless of the amount. I started asking myself a different question. Not, can I afford this? But, does this move me toward the life I actually want? Sometimes the answer meant spending more. Sometimes it meant spending nothing at all. But every choice became intentional instead of automatic. The fourth lesson was about enough. After 50, you realize that enough is not a number, it's a feeling. And that feeling has nothing to do with comparing yourself to others. Theodore Roosevelt said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." He was right, but it's more than that. Comparison is the thief of enough. As long as you're measuring yourself against someone else's wealth, someone else's retirement account, someone else's lifestyle, you'll never arrive. There will always be someone with more. I learned to define enough for myself. What do I actually need to feel secure? What do I want my days to look like? What would make me feel like I'd lived well, not lived rich? Once I answered those questions honestly, the anxiety began to lift. The fifth lesson hit me during a health scare. I won't go into details, but let's just say that when you're sitting in a doctor's office waiting for test results, you don't think about your portfolio. You think about your people. You think about time. You think about all the moments you traded for money that can't buy you one more heartbeat. Money is a tool for living, not a reason for living. It can give you options, access, security, comfort, but it cannot give you purpose. It cannot give you connection. It cannot give you presence. And it certainly cannot give you more time. The sixth and final lesson was about legacy. I used to think legacy meant leaving a certain amount to my kids. But after 50, I realized the greatest inheritance isn't money. It's wisdom. It's modeling a life well lived. It's showing them that wealth is measured in memories, not statements. That success is waking up excited about your day, not stressed about your balance. What good is leaving your children a fortune if you also leave them the anxiety, the workaholism, the inability to be present that it took to build it? What are you really passing down? So, what do you do with all of this? How do you actually shift from chasing to living, especially if you're over 50 and feel like you're running out of time? First, define your enough number. Sit down and calculate what you actually need to live the life you want, not the life Instagram says you should want, your life. Factor in healthcare, housing, the activities that bring you joy. Then add a reasonable buffer for the unexpected. That's your target. Everything beyond it, that's overflow. That's freedom to be more generous, more present, more alive. Second, audit your life, not just your finances. Look at how you spent your time last month. Does it reflect your values? Are you working towards something or running from something? This isn't about judging yourself.
It's about getting honest, because you can't change what you won't acknowledge. Third, shift from net worth to life worth. Create a different kind of wealth statement. What brings you joy? Who do you love spending time with? What activities make you lose track of time? What impact do you want to have? Start measuring your wealth in those terms. Track your moments, not just your money.
Fourth, spend on alignment. Look at your discretionary spending. Is it buying you experiences, growth, and connection? Or is it just filling space? Redirect your money toward what actually matters. Maybe that's travel. Maybe that's time with grandkids. Maybe that's learning something you've always wanted to know. Money used intentionally feels completely different than money spent mindlessly. Fifth, practice presence. The greatest wealth is being here now. Put down the phone. Close the brokerage app. Stop refreshing your account balance. It'll be there tomorrow. But this moment, this conversation, this sunset, it's here once. The wealthiest people I know aren't the ones with the most money. They're the ones who are fully present in their own lives. And finally, share what you know. You've lived long enough to have learned something valuable. Pass it on. Mentor someone younger. Have the honest conversations about money that no one had with you. Your wisdom is worth more than your wallet. I'm 53 now. I have less time ahead of me than behind me, and that reality has become the greatest gift. It's taught me that every day I spend anxious about money is a day I'll never get back. Every moment I postpone joy for some future security is a moment lost forever.
Money matters. Of course it does. But after 50, you realize it matters less than you thought and differently than you believed. It's not the destination. It's not even the journey. It's simply the vehicle. And the question isn't how much fuel you have in the tank. The question is, where are you actually going? In the end, the richest moments aren't found in numbers, but in peace of mind. And that kind of wealth, it's available right now, regardless of your balance. You just have to choose it